YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got something new and exciting. The Lightning V2. This is a lot like another plane we reviewed recently, except it had an EDF. It's by Top RC. Banggood sent us this one. We have links in the description below. We're actually running a Lemon RX receiver. We haven't done that for some time. We will show that in the radio setup. We set it up with the NX8, which is kind of cool. For some of you guys who don't know about Lemon, there'll be links to it. But we're also going to link to the AR637T and the AR631, both of which would be really good, okay? The Lemon RX is right here on the bottom of the wing. You'll see that in the build if you stick around for that. Final control surface test. Stabilizers on, up, right, left, up, up. Just looking at all the controls. And left, right, roll left, roll right, elevator, elevator. Okay, everything's where it needs to be. The stabilizer is on a dial, all the way off, all the way up, and off if it's too much. We're gonna start in our middle setting on Expo. Again, we'll go over that in the build. Throttle hold is off, tested. And we're gonna launch over here so we got some tall grass just in case we have our trims way out of whack. So throttle about 40–50%. We need a lot of up trim, but boy, that thing is flying really solid already. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think we're out of the trim, maybe just a touch more. Oh, I love the way it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Now this thing is flying on 3S, folks. I was really surprised. Okay, listen. Okay, full throttle. I'll work around you, camera crew. Very rock solid feeling. We need just a little bit less on the stabilizer here. Man, that thing looks rock solid. Look how solid it is, guys. It's just straight as an arrow. It literally flies like an arrow. Love the scream. Okay, let's try some slow flight performance here just to see when it starts falling. Okay, I'm gonna get so you guys can see that better. Good upside down performance. This thing is rock solid, folks. Rock solid, man. Using just the rudder, a little bit of back elevator just to keep the nose where it's gonna be. Man, there we go. We just finally went over even. I was like, yeah, I don't want to find the elevator. Or I don't want to find the, I don't want to find the power lines there. Guys, this thing is rock solid right now. I'm loving the way it flies. Absolutely loving it. Very easy to fly, very docile. Absolutely no problems in the air. We've got real light rain. I'm trying to be quiet every time I go by because it sounds so cool. Guys, look how nice that is. This is a Banggood plane. What the heck? Sorry, I shouldn't say something like that. Let's try cornhole. It does it. It's a little bit slow on the roll rate there. Boy, I bet this thing would fly for a long time on a 2200 3S as we have it configured.
Mm-hmm. I bet so.
Of course, we have no telemetry because of the way we configured this one. So we have to do a 5-minute timer. Pretty good ups for a 3S, folks. Not unlimited, we're just stalling out there. Love the scream. High efficiency plane, it doesn't scream that much. I mean, screams are generated by drag, so honestly, you don't really want them even though they sound awesome. It'll get you out of trouble still. A lot of rudder here. Contrary aileron, just to let it stall back over. beautiful, guys. It flies pretty slow too, I'm surprised. With no flap deployment, we have flapper-on setup today, of course. Hopefully you got that, camera crew.
I think so.
Okay, so we're gonna try takeoff flaps now. Little bit of downward. Did slow down a little bit, getting into the throttle just for safety reasons. Okay, we're gonna come around here and try that again. The wind's kind of pushing at our nose right now. So takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Yeah, a little bit too much down elevator correction, folks. I'm not probably gonna get away with using those too much. Just loving the way it flies. It's just so rock solid right now. I haven't done a Lemon RX receiver for a while. Partly because we've been working with Horizon, as you guys know, and they have some awesome stuff out right now. We love the forward programming. It's been probably the biggest technological advance. I think it's a way bigger deal than the Smart ESCs myself, because it answers all the problems that I had with the AR637. And then I think they're hitting a better price point, if you ask me. So upside down, near stall, and look at this, guys. Oh, that is impressive. Got a little bit of up elevator. That's all I'm giving it, folks. And it's totally upside down all on its own. Let's just come out of that real quick. No throttle, obviously. A little bit of roll, keeping that nose from drooping on me. I just kind of want to see what the stall looks like, but I don't want to do it in a place where you guys can't see. So we'll bring it over here. Okay, so still haven't stalled. Starting to kind of think about riding the elevator here. There it goes. Nice gentle stall. That was awesome, folks. Man, the Lemon RX stabilizer is really solid. Now, this is not to be confused with the one from Motion, which has auto leveling. Lemon calls that DSMP, which is totally stupid because it's actually just DSMX, and they have their setup on that one so that it'll auto level. I've never actually used that one, and that's the only Lemon I've ever had problems with. So I stopped using them immediately as soon as I started. Noticing a little teeny bit of oscillation on that maneuver on the roll axis. Just want to see how she'll do here. Oh yeah, she was feeling a little spongy there at the end. Gosh, guys, these clouds are cool looking for us in person, but I hope the camera is agreeable.
I think so, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't do a lot of inside loops, guys, but when I do them way the heck up there. That's number 3, and I've been out of the throttle. There's a stall, finally. Now we'll do an outside loop. Guys, this plane is a joy to fly. It feels a lot like the Evo, like the Concendo Evo, but just a little bit more tame. The Evo is just like so incredibly fast. But I can tell you this, guys, this airframe, it is solid. And this is a little bit more refined, like it's a tighter, cleaner finish, I think, maybe than the Evo. It's a little bit, I don't think it's cheaper though, that's the problem. I think it's more expensive.
It was an easy build, too.
Very easy build. In throttle, we'll do a big, huge inside loop. Actually, we're gonna flip it over and do a second. In the throttle, full throttle there. Okay, rolling out of it. Coming down for a really high speed pass, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Love it. And to altitude, we're just gonna chill here for a minute. Do a nice relaxing left turn here, staying nice and level and true to the ground. Obviously, we're not gonna be thermaling much. It's an afternoon flight. When I say afternoon, it's like what, 7:20 or 7:30, something like that. Really, really enjoying this flight too. It's super, it's everything I want from a sailplane. It'll do the exciting stuff, but you don't have to like have a heart attack. And then down the runway, camera crew. You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Guys, it's just well behaved. It really is. As suspected when we were building it, she'll disappear on you though in the clouds a
Yeah.
little bit. So you better, if you're gonna be flying this thing a lot, you better get your black paint out and paint the bottom or something.
Yeah.
Now up against the tree, she looks gorgeous, no problems at all.
And against a bright blue sky, I think you'd be okay too.
Okay, camera crew, I
Yep.
want you to go back to the corner. Thank you. I think I might need to land.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to think it's an emergency, but I'm just trying to kind of plan ahead. These things land a little bit heavy, so I'm just trying to do it in such a way that it's pretty. I'm slowing down a lot. Camera crew, where are you? You
Right
good?
on the corner.
Okay, throttle holds on. I didn't want to drag that through the mud. That was what I was thinking about. Okay, so we are 1 minute 55. Throttle holds on. Now you'll notice I came onto the concrete. That's kind of a no-no. You don't want to land on the concrete. But it's better than dragging a bunch of mud on the bottom of here.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to show you that too was just for the simple fact that look at this. Not much got in there. That's good. And then look, metal.
Yep.
So this thing is a really well-designed plane. I'm really, really happy with it. My only complaint that's a legitimate complaint on this plane is the canopy latch. I'm not a fan of this canopy latch. That would be something that'd be easily rectified. You could do a different design. The reason I'm not a fan is because I've had it, I lost it on my old one and I had to do some modifications to make it work. And then I also then destroyed the plane, but that wasn't the canopy latch's fault. It keeps beeping at me. I don't know why. Did you hear?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Good. Different beep.
Oh, confirm system menu. Oh, you know what? Here you go. I think what's going on is it's asking me if I want to go into the menu. So I must have got water down on the switch. That's not such a good thing. So you see where my battery is. It started out just right at that line. CG markings are right here. And it's got a nice wide range. So let's just show you where our battery ended up. We flew that thing for some time, folks.
Yeah, it should have been right around 10 minutes.
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
it was
kind of
the
over.
timer I didn't set to 1 out. But guys, look at this. This Gen 2 2200 3S. All right. We have a voltage alarm. And we're gonna go ahead and put it on the XBC 100 battery tester. And just show you exactly what this thing looks like. You wanna hold it tight. And then I'll just push it in. Okay. There you have it, guys. 26% left. I would say that's about perfect. So 10 minutes of good flight time. And I mean, 10 minutes of flight time, kind of hard on it. You wouldn't necessarily have to call it quits at 10 minutes at all. I felt like maybe 4S would be kind of cool, but the manual specifically said 3S for V2, which I thought that was really kind of strange. But that being said, if this thing does that good on 3S and you decided you want to upgrade the power system, be my guest. But I feel like it had plenty of power. This thing got you up to altitude. It got you right where you needed to be. It didn't feel like it had a bad stall tendency. The stabilizer makes a big difference on this. The last one I did with the EDF had a really bad pitch down tendency, a pitch down moment when you give it throttle. And also part of that comes from just having the EDF so high up here. I mean, it was cool, it was neat. But I just feel like this thing flies better, it looks better, it behaves better, and I like it a lot better. So I would say if, you know, apples to apples, if I had the exact same stabilizer configuration in the other plane, I think it would have performed better, but I probably would have still kind of edged toward this one if I was picking between the two top flight models. This thing was way better. So very happy with it. Guys, definitely check the link in the description. This one's good. I'm kind of a sucker for sailplanes, so obviously I'm biased toward them, but this is not going to be like some expert plane. Like you gotta, you know, I don't claim to be an expert anyway. But the thing is, I would say that this plane would be a good intermediate plane, easily, you know, second or third plane, no problem. just get yourself a stabilizer, put the AR637 in there. It's gonna be super easy. You'll get the Vario, so you can do the boop, 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 boop. Camera crew loves it when I do that. So if you get this plane, you're gonna be really happy. I felt like the flaperons worked well. Camera crew, I'm gonna let you hold this for a second. Let's talk about our down elevator correction. So I'm gonna scroll down. I'm actually decouple. I know I got drips of water in there. See that? It's on the bottom of that. So obviously in the rain, maybe not such a great idea to run this in the rain. I'm just gonna spin that to get the water off of the roller. Okay, now that I've got the water somewhat off of there, see, it's wanting to go in and out. See? All right, so into flap system, I'm just gonna turn this down to like nothing, and then this down to nothing. And then we'll just basically see what it needs to be on our next flight. I mean, maybe 5% if that. And I just did -50 and -100 because it's a flaperon configuration. I basically had to run this back and forth a bunch of times. You can see how much trim we did, -84%. And so, yeah, if you're ever using this outside and you get water on the roller, that's not a great place because there's a sensor that tells when it's spinning this way and a sensor that tells when it's spinning this way. It's actually distinguishing between the change this direction and distinguishing between the change this direction. And so if you get water in there, it's gonna cause problems. But as you can see, everything is working nice and working fine. So avoid getting water in that spot in particular on this DX8, or excuse me, the NX8. Actually, the DX8's the exact same way, DX9. All of them have the same scroll bar. In fact, all the Open TX ones, I believe, have a scroll bar in the same spot. So just avoid getting water in that spot. I would really like to do another flight. Do we have time for another flight just to see how that flap works?
Probably.
Let's do another flight. We'll pause and get reset. Okay, so we got the battery back just a hair further so we can see how it does with the further back CG. I'm sure it'll be fine. If not, I'll just jank it around up in the air and make it slide forward a little bit. Sounds like a great plan. Okay, so test the throttle. Everything's working good. Everything feels solid. Throttle holds on and tested. I want to actually turn on my 1-out timer, and we're going to set that to like 9 minutes, or why don't we do 8 minutes just to be totally safe? Because I like having a little bit of margin. So what I found is you have to kind of lift up on this and then spin it, and it will eventually find the low point and then pop free. Okay? Yeah, that held in there. I felt the prop moving, I think.
Oh.
And I thought maybe it was the battery shifting. Okay, camera crew, can you hold that for just a sec? All right, so real quick, I just want to show you. We're gonna go into flaps. We're gonna do nothing for flap correction. And we're in our middle expo mode, so just our standard, you know, like 5, 10, 20 with dropping back the rates to 90. Also, what was the other thing? The 1-out timer. So we're gonna click in here, go down to timer, change the 1 time to active, and then we're gonna go next, and we're gonna go to next. We're gonna change this to nothing. Then we're gonna change that to nothing. Then we're gonna change this to voice, and then expiration tone and vibrate, and then every minute tone. That's why everything sounded so weird.
Wait, you said 8 minutes though.
8 minutes? Oh,
yeah. Or
okay.
8 or 9, whatever you.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll change the timer to 8. All right, good. So it'll start at 25% throttle position. Everything is ready to rock and roll. So just to show you again, takeoff flaps, still have stabilizer on both sides. Landing flaps, still have stabilizer on both sides. I think we might get just a hair balloon on this, but being this is a belly lander, that might not be a problem. So I'm gonna try to launch with takeoff flaps this time. Okay, and we have 8 minutes set. Give it about 50% throttle here. Oh yeah, so much less scary out of the takeoff flaps. All right. Takeoff flaps. Oh yeah, really good, really good. Absolutely no problems there. Let's go around, we'll give you guys the exact same feel, except we'll bring a little bit more speed this time. A little bit more. Okay, we're gonna go same scenario, only we're gonna slow down a little bit. Takeoff flaps here. A little bit of throttle to help slow it down, because we do have braking. And then full landing flaps. Ooh, that got wonky on me.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice it roll?
Yeah.
Was that in my head?
No.
Okay. I want to see if that does that again. I'm going to get into a better orientation. About 30% throttle here. Takeoff flaps seem to be really nice. Now full land, let's get out here. We got a little more room, a little more safety, security. A little bit of up attitude. Man, that slows down a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Wind is at our tail right now, so I'm gonna turn. Now the wind is at our nose. Okay, sorry about the visibility with clouds. Full landing flaps. That still rolls. It's just wonky because of the flaperons. That feels okay. It's just kind of got a little bit of a roll tendency. And I think it might have been from a trim on the rudder. Oh yeah, I'm happy with it. See the slight oscillation at the end of that pass? Guys, just loving the way this flies. I feel like the scream on the Crescendo Evo is more exciting. But that's such a weird thing to care about. Going behind us here. You good?
Yeah, good.
I just love the way this thing flies though. It's really predictable. It's easy. It's strong. It's fast. Okay, we'll do a high speed pass with throttle. And up. A little bit of rudder and then nosing it over. Out of the throttle. Janking it around. Here we go. A little bit of throttle to keep from stalling into the tall trees. I don't want to go climbing them. Vampire killing zone right behind me. Going to the eagle killing zone here. We're going to visit our ghost of the old friend, except he's not a ghost. He's down in the basement, still flies. Actually, the vampire's in the basement too. It's just his body. Ooh, that was kind of Dexter-ish. Folks, the verdict's in. This thing is awesome. I really do like it. I enjoy flying it a ton. I know that a lot of these circuits are the same. Probably not most exciting plane to watch just because what we're trying to accomplish here is just show you that it works, not necessarily show you, how awesome our property is or anything like that. Of course, we think it is. She does just good upside down. How do you like her upside down, Megan?
Not my favorite.
Does it make you nervous?
No.
This thing flies solid though. I am definitely in control. I feel in control. I know I'm in control. And that's a good feeling when you're going by at like 90. I think that's probably a little bit slower than the Crescendo Evo. Because I mean, I can't help but put this up against that. The Swift was the plane we did with the EDF, okay? And while I enjoyed the Swift, I just didn't feel in control. And that was on me for maybe not doing a stabilizer. I feel like I almost need to restore it to life. And just give it another crack at success. I do not like the way that this thing flies with full flaperon deployment. But honestly, I feel like if I went to, instead of 100, if I went to like 95, I would get the control that I want. I'd get that more crisp roll response, despite being in flaperons, okay? And then I would still be able to have that dynamic amount of drag that you need to help slow a plane like this down. Sorry, I should have warned you on that one. Just trying to demonstrate it'll do the tight spots too. Ooh, getting a little crispy there. You know, I've always thought that when it comes to sailplanes, and you know, I've crashed my fair share of them, just like some of you guys have. I've always felt like it's a lot easier to just keep your speed up than it is to pick up the pieces. I'd rather swallow my pride than swallow a dead model, you know? Man, we're just like really able to cruise along slow. I really wanted to make a left-hand turn there, but I'm trying to be a responsible adult here.
Trying
and failing. So folks, we're like 50 short of 100,000 subscribers right now. So I guess we'll just have to wait longer. But the thing is, it's like 50 should go pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. It should.
Oh, I'm being one of those responsible adults again. You see that?
I know. I'm confused.
I know. Who is this person flying, right? See that alpha configuration? Look how nice that thing is. Into the throttle. Eagle keeling zone, up and around. Just over the power lines and then on the inside. Guys, I just love the way this thing is flying. It feels so good. It's so solid. I've said that a bunch of times, but it just really is. Our English chick is reading us numbers. Did you hear?
Mm-hmm, I did.
So I think that means I need to try to land, which sucks because I want to keep flying.
It looks really good.
Yeah, and it's really, like, honestly, with this cloud cover, it really can, like, disappear on you bad.
Yeah.
This white, almost non-existent livery. Okay, I'm going to just bleed off a bunch of inertia here. You'd actually probably tractor the prop and slow down even more. There's takeoff flaps. Here's landing flaps. We'll go tall grass this time. Disappears totally. Okay, so I'm gonna go get that so you don't have to walk out into the tall grass, and we'll come right back.
Okay.
So it just went into the tall grass, no problems at all. I actually preferred to land in the tall grass. The only drawback is when you have tall, wet grass, everything gets wet, which is not desirable on a foam plane, or any plane for that matter. But guys, this thing is good. It's very good. I just can't put my finger on it. Is it as exciting as the Crescendo Evo? And I think the answer to that question is maybe not quite as exciting, just because I knew about that one first and I flew that one first. Also, that one's a lot easier to get into because it's not a plug and fly. But a lot of you guys that don't use Spectrum hardware will actually prefer that. So really, this thing is solid. It's very, very stiff winged. Mm-hmm. The wing cord is very, I mean, it's got actually a pretty big cord, but it's very thin. I love the shape of the wing. Actually, I'd almost kind of prefer not have that little winglet sort of shape here, because I feel like it would be even more crispy and fast. But I love the way it flies. It sounds great. It's well protected. You know, you've got scratch guards here, you've got metal here, and you've got plastic all the way on the belly where you're almost sure. And you guys saw it first. We landed on the concrete for that first landing. So really, it leaves nothing to be desired, with the exception of it'd be nice to slow it down just a hair or more, because then I could catch it. You could probably catch this, but this is the type of plane where you're going to come up, you're going to commit to the catch, and you're gonna miss it, and it's gonna go like this and break. Which, by the way, that happens with the Crescendo Evo too, because the new foam is a lot more dense. It's a little bit more heavy, and it's definitely more brittle. Okay, the original Crescendo S and the Crescendo Advanced were way better in that sense. They were more soft and floppy, but there was definitely a price to pay for that. This thing is solid, just like, see how much effort it takes to twist that? And then the elevator, I love the full functioning stabilator. Or I guess is that an elevator? I guess it's still an elevator, but that might be a stabilator. Either way, tell me in the comments below. I like the way it flies. I like the way it looks. Not crazy about the livery. That's a personal preference thing. You could easily rectify that. Peel off a couple of these labels and you're done. You're ready to rock and roll. I'd like to paint one wing black on the bottom so that you have a really distinct high contrast top versus bottom view.
Yep.
Not really disappointed in no LEDs, because you just don't get LEDs on planes like this. I don't understand why, but we don't. It'd be really nice to get those if you guys are listening in the manufacturer land. Thirdly, no issues from the batteries. The batteries seem to handle a 10-minute flight, pretty much pushing it the whole time. No problems at all. And I know a lot of you guys flying sailplanes are not going to push it. You might get an hour out of a battery, no problem. You could probably put a smaller battery in and get it up to the nose and still make CG. Also, I felt like it flew every bit as good, maybe slightly better in the high alpha. Back here, I didn't push it as much on the first flight, and you definitely don't need correction on the elevator because there was almost no balloon either way, which is kind of surprising. So the other thing I want you to take note of is that these batteries have and continue to be really good. The only packs that we have had any negligible amount of puffing on, and I don't know what it is about these particular packs, is the 4S 4000 variety. I don't know why. It's the only packs we've had issues with in terms of puffing at all. And when I say issues, they're still probably like the least amount of puffing compared to any other brand that we have. But they have. There has been a little bit of puffing, like a 10% puff. I think part of it is flying that 80mm EDFs really chews through those packs. So, EDFs suck power. This thing is obviously not an EDF. Everything looks rock solid on that. 30C, it's not like we're pushing it hard. We could have used a 50C for this, but I'm like, what's the point? You don't need 30C, let alone 50.
Did you want to check it?
Yeah, let's do. I can throw that back on if you want. So what type of questions are you thinking that I haven't addressed yet, camera crew?
I think
I need to be able to push hard. Just push. Thank you. Very good. Yeah, see? That's perfect.
Yeah.
So it's right at storage. It's right at storage voltage. These packs have been phenomenal, guys. Better for safety, better for staying balanced while flying, better for charging. The G2 packs, are they better than the G1? I'm getting used to not having a balance lead. The funny thing is, at first I was like, are you kidding me? What a stupid marketing ploy. Just like I thought when smart batteries came out. And now it's kind of like, that's kind of nice actually, because when you're going through charging like 14 batteries and you got like 7 chargers going, which, I mean, I'm not the only guy who does that, I realize. It's a real pain in the neck, balance charging all those plugs. Plus these things, you plug them in, it just goes.
So much easier.
I mean, my kid can plug them in. We just kind of stay in the proximity and listen, and when they beep, we come in there and take care of it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
I almost can't even remember how much of a pain it must have been to set up the parallel charging for like 6 or 7 2200s. That was so much work.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think about it, but that was a ton of work.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if you have one of these and in a pinch, technically it's going to balance even if you just put power to it. So I'm not telling anybody to do anything dangerous, but obviously always with batteries, use your best judgment. You're not coming to YouTube to get my advice on safety, okay? I'm here to show you that this plane flies. And it does a really good job of it. And I'm here to show you that this NX8 works great, and it really does. And honestly, the Lemon RX receiver worked fantastic, just like on 50 or 60 of my planes downstairs. Would I have preferred to put an AR637T? Yeah, because I love the boop, 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 because everybody makes fun of me, and I think it's awesome. In closing, check the link in the description below. Stick around if you want to see the build in radio setup, we go through all of it. But just take note that we took out the elevator correction. We set up the timer for a 1-out timer. A lot of guys on sailplanes will not do a 1-out timer because you're really not consuming much juice until you go to throttle. So you could probably run a 5-minute non-1-out timer and just have it, you know, maybe set, instead of 25%, you could do like a 10%. And then you're also picking up when you're running. The other thing is when you're landing, if you don't want to do flaperons, if you want to do like a simpler configuration, just run your prop when you're getting ready to land and chop your throttle right before you hit the ground. And that will allow the braking to stop the prop, but you can use that for extra drag. So we didn't need to do that. It just behaved really well.
Yeah.
And putting it in the tall grass worked perfect. Putting it on the short grass actually worked really good too.
And it is like, it's been raining for a week, so it's,
which is really good.
And
even though it's annoying, it's really good because we needed the rain bad.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm just remembering, we get some grass seed. We put down,
you're welcome, people.
what, like $750 worth of grass seed last year?
A lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
So
we've done more already this year.
And you know, we are literally hayseed hicks now because we buy hayseed.
Yep.
And we plant it and then we harvest it. So sorry, sue me. Don't sue me.
No, don't do that.
Buy our hay.
And subscribe.
And subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, but mostly subscribe, like the video. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications. And obviously, come back for more. YouTube into the AM. Get your shirts. They've been working out good. The necks are not bothering me at all, which is really nice. These guys have been good to work with. And we like it when sponsors work with us and leave us lots of flexibility. And these guys have done that, so we appreciate that. Show them your support. Sorry. We're gonna open a box. I'm actually quite excited for this one.
Didn't you just put a new blade in there?
I just did. Like, what did they, was like Teflon coated tape? It didn't even make it through. What is going on, Banggood? Maybe somebody like used this to pick something open because the tip looks really screwed up. Oh, there it is. I made it that time. So in case you guys have never ordered anything from Banggood yet, check the link in the description below. Obviously, Banggood is a Chinese-based company, but they have North American distribution. Actually, they have warehouses in a few different strategic locations across the planet. Some of you guys that watch from over in Europe, you kind of like the Banggood because they're a little bit cheaper to ship than some of the stuff from Verizon that we review. We have gotten some pretty awesome toy grade stuff, and then occasionally we will get a weird, good hobby grade plane. And we just did one not too long ago that would have fallen in that echelon. And this is its sister, so I'm super excited. It's coming out. Gosh. Sorry, Banggoods are like the worst to unbox because they put a garbage bag around it and then they tape it.
I was gonna say, I did it faster than you opened that box.
Oh yeah, baby. Ages 14 plus. That's very serious.
Good sign.
Oh yes, the Lightning V2 red/blue propeller power system. What a stupid name. Come on, guys. Come on, man. Look at that view. Look at that thing. This is just like the EDF. Just like the EDF one we did the other day. Super excited to bring this to you guys. It's gonna be good. I am a sucker for sailplanes, and this is a sailplane. This is by Top RC, and we are going to unbox it right now. It is stapled shut, which they're really worried about you opening this package. Oh my goodness, what kind of packaging is going on here? This is why we do the unboxings. It looks like this slips out. Oh, so you can keep the box.
Way to go.
Rewind the footage. But yeah, you can keep this to store the plane in.
Because you store all your planes in their original packaging.
Some people have to, and
I know.
I would not like that.
Nope.
Okay, so, I mean, that worked when it was like 2 or 3 planes, maybe.
Or like 200.
We're not quite there yet. I don't think we're to 200 yet. We're pretty close. Maybe if you include every little plane that we've done. Okay, so just so you guys know, this packaging is designed to be able to be reused. Obviously, we're gonna kind of tear it up a little bit just because we want to get stuff out of here. Yeah, look at that. The wings literally have protection between. Okay, look at that. The foam is strong enough that I can tear this to get them out. But you guys are gonna want to keep that if you're packaging it back in here. Oh, I'm super excited. This is a really high quality plane. It doesn't necessarily look like yet from a distance, but look at this, guys. There's hardly any flex in this thing. And then look at the shape. It's so crisp and clean. The only thing that it's lacking is it's got these mold release bumps. Okay. There's no flaps, but we'll probably end up setting this thing up possibly for flap runs, depending on how we do it. Okay, so obviously you got the two main wings. Oh, and they are opened at the end. So if you're gonna repackage this thing, you're gonna wanna hang on to all this stuff. I just love the way this foam looks. The decals are actually pretty nice looking. I was kind of nervous about that because,
yeah, they're okay.
I mean, this is a fast plane. You're gonna want them to be more high visibility than this probably. So I'm gonna try to fly it as stock as I can tolerate, but really putting some black paint on the bottom of the wings would be a good idea because this thing disappears zip in the sky. Strong carbon fiber wing joiners. That is carbon fiber, not... You can tell it's carbon fiber by the way the strands are really long. If this was fiberglass, it would not be near as strong as it is. Plus, you can hear it sounds like glass, okay? Hear that? That's a carbon fiber rod. That's a carbon fiber rod. If it was fiberglass, it would be more dull sounding. Okay, instructions look like pretty decent. Made in China. The Shenzhen Top Hobby. Shenzhen, China is where a bunch of this stuff is made. Like a lot of stuff is made in Shenzhen. That is a really good picture, actually.
And it's not all folded up.
I know. I like that it's not folded. That's very nice. Oh, look. Actual specs. There's 3 plus 9-gram digital servos, metal gear.
V2.
Oh, this is a V2.
Yep. Right.
9-gram digital servos, metal gear, 4. Nice. There's our CG, 60 to 50 millimeters. Okay, that's cool. This is going to be a pretty easy build, folks. Looks like good manual. Not that the manual's super critical. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a beginner plane, but honestly, there's no reason why you couldn't start with a sailplane. This might be a little bit like powerful for a beginner. Power does save lives in RC. This is a Y cable and 2 bolts. Camera crew, a little better than the last package we opened.
So far.
That was ridiculous. Okay, looks like the horizontal stabilizer's here. Just getting the tape off. I'm not crazy about the way this thing unboxes, and it reminds me of unboxing the other one now that I'm doing this. It was kind of a weird unpackaging as well. These things bite onto the wing joiners. So the wing joiner goes in here. You remember building this thing?
I do now.
I really liked that plane, and I crashed it. Which is unfortunate because when it crashed, it really foobarred the fuselage.
It's not a good one.
Yeah, it was bad. And it was very fast. So it's not coming back from that. Oh yes, this looks so good. And I also thought the EDF was kind of like a neat thing, but it just didn't look very cool. I didn't think. When I look back at it, I think if only it just had a prop, I think I would have been more compelled to put the stabilizer in it, really make it fly the way I want it to. This tail section is double-sided taped in, okay? So you have to kind of get creative to get it out. Ooh, that looks good. That looks really nice. I'm not crazy about the colors, to be honest, but that's a preference thing. That looks heavy duty. I'm really happy with that. This has got an aluminum joiner in the middle. Good ventilation. That's the mark of somebody actually knows what they're doing that put this together. And that is an aggressive pitch too, goodness gracious. Not a very big prop, but look, nothing's gonna catch here, guys. That's critical. And then look, plastic for landing on the belly. Nice, so glad to see that. I had problems with this on mine, so hopefully we don't have problems on this one. It was too loose, and we did have issues on the last one, so let's hope we don't have to deal with that again. This is a little bit awkward to pull off, because if I go forward, it's gonna wanna yank off the canopy, so I'm just gonna...
Cut it.
I think everything is out of here, it's empty, so we'll just kind of throw that to the side for now. You can use that to hold the plane like a plane stand. We'll deal with that stuff in a few minutes. I'm actually quite excited for this plane though, because I loved the way that that thing was showing potential right up until the point where I killed it. And I want to demonstrate something really quick, but I'm trying to be patient so that I can actually get this wrap off of here. All right, the patience prevails for once. You realize how much force it would take to put that sort of strength into a fuselage? You would have to have that much pressure on the wing here relative to this. So you're not gonna see that in flight. See how hard I'm bending it? And I mean, I'm strong, I could break it in half if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I want it to not break in half. Everything just feels really solid. Nice high gloss finish on this. That's gonna be helpful. This is gonna get crap in it just like the first one did. But the first one was way worse because I don't remember there being any plastic on the bottom.
I don't either.
It must not have been a V2.
Maybe.
But I'm just really liking the way this looks. Those are evidently Metal Gear servos, digital servos. XT60 installed. Not very big for receivers in here, guys, so just keep that in mind. It's not like the end of the world, just be aware. Okay, so this is the thing I had probably the most trouble with on my first one. It was kind of like awkward to get this to come undone and pull the canopy out.
Kind of like right now?
Yeah, like right now. So I'm gonna push up a little bit, and then you can feel there's like a spot where the teeth, there. So it clears. See how that's designed? Okay. I did not like that design before. I still don't like it. Bigger ESC. It had a dinky little ESC in it before. I think I'm gonna fly this on 4S. Is that what they recommend in the manual? Camera crew, if you could take a quick look.
Battery 2200,
4S.
11.1 volt.
Oh, that's 3S.
Which is interesting because the V1 says 14.8.
What?
20C? Man.
Well, 20C is not a high requirement. That's good. That means it requires less. But that's very strange that the ESC is only showing a 3S versus a 4S. That's very weird.
And it's the same, it's a 40 amp ESC.
Huh. Maybe they had problems with it, and as a result, they backed it off.
Maybe.
I don't know. We're gonna build this thing right now, and we're not even gonna stop because it's such a simple build. Okay, see this? You put these things together, the wing joiner first. That went way easier than the last time. By the way, you guys hear that? Let's show them inside. Look, you see all those lines? There's 1, 2, 3 rods that stiffen this, and a 4th on the actual aileron. Very clean controls, love it. Very nice. Okay, so if you're doing flaperons, which I'll do flaperons, this is big enough that it's almost an inboard outboard aileron, which is great for flaperons. I feel like when you have a really far out aileron on a wing, they don't work well at all as a flaperon. But if it's inboard or it's the full length, they do work okay. And I've had good luck with them. I feel like inboard flaps are almost always better. But if you have a full length wing, like on a biplane, and you do flaperons, you're gonna be golden, okay? It really works well. You don't get some of those weird tendencies that you get with flaperons. Weird tendencies meaning roll tendencies. When you go to roll on landing, which technically you should be relaxing in and getting leveled out, and then you should be doing a lot of that, but you still have to correct once in a while. I just always felt like it just took so long to go from this to something else to impact change in the roll axis that it just acts wonky once you get those things deployed. Whereas when you put down an inboard flap and you still have ailerons, there's no change in the roll authority. So, and that's helpful when you're coming to landing. Okay, so hopefully you guys understood what I meant with all that. See how smooth this is? Oh guys, look at this. Look at that. That was a lot better than the last one. We had trouble with that last one. And look, 2 screws.
Nice.
Okay, so you could legit take this apart. Look how nice this is, though. This, I mean, this feels Crescendo Evo-esque. It feels nice. It feels really well put together, really well refined. Now, this one has one advantage over the Crescendo Evo, and that is it's got a single pivot point for the elevator, which is cool. So if you look here, well, we got to tighten this. I don't want to forget. There's 2 screws here, Phillips and Phillips, and Phillips and Phillips, okay? Well, what those things do is they bite onto this wing joiner. Thanks, Tom. So we got a Phillips screw here. So I want to take this, make sure it's all the way in. Then we're going to tighten this. I mean, this is a legit buy it, bring it to the field, and fly it. You can have this set up while you're charging your battery. Okay, so that's in there, and it does pull out when you pull hard. So I'm gonna do that a little bit tighter now. This is why we test things, I guess. Let's make sure, you know what? I might not have got past there. I wonder if that's what's going on.
Loosen both sides?
I don't know. I'm gonna go to a light though. So you see that? It's not passed through. Maybe we do need to loosen both sides. Thank you, camera crew, for the amazing idea. That's screwdriver's not going to reach in there. It's a little bit too big. This screwdriver is a little bit sharper, so it gets me in there. I'm not feeling like it's going to go in. So I'm going to actually pull the thing all the way out. So if you guys are just kind of new to the channel, I really like sailplanes. They're some of my favorite to fly. See, we're not even in there. That's what we were doing wrong. See, this needs to actually get inside of that thing. Did I not put it right? There might be a vertical and a horizontal. No, not that I can tell. That's a good thing that we checked that, because you wouldn't have been, I don't think that would have been a good day otherwise. Oh, there it goes. See that? Now it's in. That was a little bit scary, folks. Okay, so far, if that's the worst problem we have on this plane,
Right.
I'm very, very happy with
And
it.
I remember it being a little tricky on the other one. Kind of scary.
Oh, sliding that in?
Ram it in there. A little.
Well, I mean, usually when I ram it in there, it's not scary. It's just enjoyable.
Sometimes it's like harder than other times.
Yes, that's, I mean, there's that. Just technical difficulties do happen. Sucks to get old. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Everything's working there. Okay, so let's try this. All right. Camera crew, will you support that tail so I can push just right there? Yeah. Yes. Awesome. Look at that tight fit. Beautiful, clean seam. And you can't overfeed it. And then look, I just noticed that too, metal. So that way when you hit, you're not going to drag. Like even if you end up, inevitably when I'm flying these things and I'm trying to belly land in the grass, I always end up stalling right over the driveway. And then I have to put it down and slip across the driveway.
Yep.
Okay, so now the way you get this to stay on here should be a pretty obvious thing. You're going to slide this through to the other side. Okay. And you'll know when you're in because this time you'll be able to tell. Ooh, that's a very scary proposition. I do not like this step because I have to try to get it through that plastic again, and that was a little bit iffy. And I don't want to get stabbed by it either.
I know. I think it's easier if that little thing is just out of there so you can...
I honestly don't know, but we're going to do it that way.
You want a plane stand?
No, I'm going to use this thing.
How lazy can I be?
No, this is perfect.
It does actually work pretty good.
It's just, I was thinking the plane stand has probably got too wide of a gap.
Oh, it might.
So you see how that holds up perfectly? So now I have to just really be careful not to break anything. All right, we're just gonna try taking this thing out.
It's everywhere.
So take note, guys, there's a, see this? There's a panhead machine screw, and then there's a different style screw here, okay? So you've got that countersink on the one screw, and then the not countersink on the other screw, okay?
Yeah, you can see it right there, but it's just not.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of going through, but it's just that first time getting in, it's just kind of like, there it goes. I got it easier that time. That was less scary than the first one. First one was like, jeez. That is a really nice fit though, folks. Really, really nice fit. Super impressed with this. Again, our last plane that we reviewed for Banggood was, it's going to be published by the time this goes up, so I can talk about it. But it's the Killer Whale by Yixin, and we were super impressed with the quality. Everything went super smooth, but it was like an ARF plug and fly, and so Megan and I were not aware that that's what it was.
Nope.
And so we opened it up, and we just kept opening new packages and new bags of bolt sacks, and it was just like motors and ESCs and wires, and we're like, oh my goodness.
Every control horn.
So about like 2:30 in the morning when we were done putting it together, we were both just like, this was ridiculous. And then I flew it, and it actually turned out to be a really nice plane too. So took a little bit of getting there, but this thing just looks nice. I am not a fan of the labels. I think they're ugly, but it's nice that you have them. I am a very big fan of the way this thing is going together. I am a very big fan of the stiffness of the frame. I'm a fan of the shape. It looks like a warm liner, which is pretty cool. The fact that this is the same shape as the nose is handy, but it's a little bit bigger. I'm not crazy about that. It's certainly not a deal breaker, but it's just a little bit hokey. Now, I think what we're gonna do is this. Normally, we have been using Spectrum receivers, and we know that a lot of you guys do use the Spectrum receivers, but we also know that some of you guys are maybe not wanting to spend that level of money. And we used to almost religiously use Lemon RX, okay, for a variety of reasons. We have gotten away from that for a while, partly because it's got really hard to find them for a little bit. I think that's been resolved. So here's the Lemon 7-channel with stabilization. This is not to be confused with the one that Motion sells that has the Stabilizer Plus. That is auto leveling, and I've never used one of those, but the Stabilizer Plus directly from Lemon I have used, and I had problems with it. It's the only Lemon that I know I had problems with because of the receiver. And it was on the Arcus M, and Esteban had to climb a tree and get it out of the tree. And then later he got pulled over because he wasn't paying attention. He ran a stop sign and he was all scratched up, and the cop was like, "What are you doing, sir?" So Esteban, oh, he gets himself into such stupid situations. But anyway, so this is the receiver. You're welcome, Esteban. I hope you watch this. So this is the receiver we're gonna use. It comes in a nice little package. When you go to cut this open, okay, be super careful that you don't cut those. Those are your antenna leads. So you gotta be real careful. It's been a while since we reviewed one of these. Now this is a DSMX capable receiver. Part of the reason we started doing the AR637 TAs is because they have a barometer in them, and that is awesome. So you'd get a Vario right there. They're a lot more expensive, but if you go out and buy the Lemon Vario pack and everything, it's pretty expensive too, because barometers are expensive. So that being said, this is the one that we liked, reviewed, and used a lot, okay? So there are trim pots to set the gains for the 3-axis of stabilization. This has got a stabilizer built in. And it also has a master gain on channel 8. And that way you can turn it up and down. And suppose each of these are at 0 versus plus 100 or minus 100. If you set pitch to, elevator to plus 20, and then you set rudder to minus 15, and then ailerons to plus 50, well then when you adjust your master gain, all of them in tandem are adjusting based on that basis from this mechanical adjustment here. So that's one thing. Now, a couple things that weren't good about this. First of all, no forward programming, obviously, which you already know that. And also, because this is a 7-channel with stabilization, the 8th channel is the master gain, which means you need to have 8 channels. Now, at the time we were using the DX18, we had no problem with channels. But we also had done some really creative things to be able to use the channel 5 is on off for stabilizer, but they never had a mode where you could force the stabilizer on all the time and then depend on channel 8 to just turn it all the way down. And yes, while you're thinking about it, the gains are from minus 150 pulse width modulation to 0 all the way to plus 150. So in your servo setup, you may need to expand the ranges. We'll show you that stuff when we do the radio setup, but just a couple of different things to keep in mind. Or you could just get an AR 637T and it would work flawlessly in this application and probably a lot easier to set up. But at the same time, we just wanted to show this because we have one left and we're gonna use it in this plan. So that being said, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and do this. We're gonna set this up for flaperons. Obviously we have a throttle plug here. Excuse me, that's the rudder. I think the receiver is gonna go back here because it has to essentially go back here. Okay, this is a tight plane. You don't have a lot of room, so this lemon will work okay for that. This has to be pins forward, pins back, one or the other. Pins upside down, doesn't matter. Sideways does matter, but you have to be creative because then that changes the yaw axis to the pitch axis and the pitch axis to the yaw axis because this is thinking it's gonna be here, okay? Now you can also change different settings here. You can do flaperons, VTEL, delta, rudder, elevator, and aileron, okay? I believe to get the stabilizer to work properly. So, sorry guys, it seems like every time we film at night, our cats get attacked by other cats, so I don't know what the deal is. So anyway, our apologies if we left off and didn't pick back up. So we have an NX8 here. This is Horizon Hobby Spectrum's product right now. We've been using this, really like it. It's been great. Haven't used it with a Lemon RX 7-channel with stabilization, but shouldn't matter. So basically the way this works is we have to set up a new model and then we have to start wiring things up. Because this is a stabilizer, it has to be mounted physically so that it stays put, and then it is attached to the plane so it can give feedback into this accelerometers, okay? So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put pins, I can't remember which direction it's supposed to be, but I think it's supposed to be pins forward, okay? Now this is a diversity antenna, so you wanna get those to be at 90 degrees of each other, so we'll do that at some point too, okay? So here we go. We have several cables very clearly marked, throttle and rudder. Okay, good, that's simple. So the first thing we have to do is obviously plug in the throttle channel, which is gonna be here. Brown goes down, and you can tell sort of because of the way that they have those negative, plus, and then signal. And that's as it's laid out here, and then it comes up and takes a bend, okay? This is elevator. So these are labeled elevator, okay? So you don't have to know what they're supposed to be. You just plug them in. All right, so we have those plugged in. Now, there's aileron, and then auxiliary 1, I believe, is where we're gonna actually put our other aileron.
You have a white cable.
I don't need a Y cable.
Oh.
Because we're doing flaperons.
Oh.
If you were using this as ailerons, then you would use the cables that way.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right, camera crew. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna plug in one aileron here and then the other aileron there. And they're not like exceptionally long leads, so we may have to do extension cords at some point shortly. But for now, we'll just assume that we can reach. Okay, now remember, the gear channel is the channel that actuates stabilizer on, stabilizer off in the Lemon RX setup, okay? So that's why nothing's plugged into gear. If you need that channel, you can plug into the bind plug after you've got the thing bound to operate an additional accessory, okay? So look, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 5 of 7. You're like, but 7, why do they say 6 on the website or whatever? Well, that's because technically you have full access to 6 channels, and then the 7th and 8th channel are not accessible. Channel 8 you can't plug into, but it is there, and that's, in my case, I usually set up to the dial, so I have like my master gain on there, and I get that set so that I fly in the middle setting. If I want a little bit more stabilization, like if I'm going really fast and it starts doing this, then I can turn it down, or I can turn it off. So I'll set that to like switch A, okay? So that's the one thing you have to watch out for when you're flying a stabilized plane that's a little bit less sophisticated like this than the Air 637T, because you can go in and change your gains for each of those control channels. So as you're flying, typically what'll happen is you'll have an oscillation on the roll axis like this. It'll do that. Or you'll have a porpoise. And you go full throttle, and then that's what you want to set everything to, because you want to have full capability of the plane at level flight at full throttle. Not probably downhill full throttle, but this plane actually might go faster out of throttle downhill with the prop collapsed, okay? Then when you pull out and you go level, if it starts doing one of these because you're going very fast, then you have to back off your master gain, get it to the ground, turn that one control axis down, and then you can turn this gain back up. Go for another flight and then repeat until you get it right. That's assuming it's only one control axis. If it's 2, it's gonna be just like all over the place. But it's okay, you can shut it off or you can slow the plane down. If in doubt, just back off the throttle, give it a little bit of back elevator. It'll slow down, it'll stop porpoising, it'll stop oscillating, it'll stop yawing, and that overcorrection oscillation will stop. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys, so that's where these trim pots come into play. 1, 2, and 3 here, right? So I'm just gonna assume that this is gonna mount just like this. So for now, obviously the wing is upside down, and that's just the way it's gonna be. I think we have enough length, we should be able to get all that in there. So when we're all done setting it up, we'll actually unplug it, get it mounted, and then we'll plug it back in on the way to putting the wing on. Okay? So we have an XT60. It's worked its way back here, so obviously we need to pull that forward. And some of you are thinking, well, but you don't need a stabilizer in this plane. You know, that's probably true. Generally, stabilizer, you don't need a stabilizer. You don't need a radio-controlled airplane. You know, you want it. And I want them to fly the way I want them to fly, okay? So we can plug this in and bind. Obviously, it comes with a bind plug. So I'm going to put that onto the bind plug, which just shorts the signal to ground, okay? Signal to DC ground, okay? And that's going to allow us to bind here shortly. The thing is not aware of its position, okay? It's a stabilizer. It's not aware of up, down, you know, right, left, forward, backward. It's just aware of X. Move, 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 move. It doesn't care where X is. X could start here, it could start here. And then those 3 axes of movement are always based on, you know, whatever you turn on, but it really doesn't matter. It's not like it's gonna auto level, okay? So hopefully this all makes sense. So our next move is really, it's just kind of the basics. So what we're gonna do is we'll click into the model select, add new model, create. It's gonna make an acro. Then we're gonna go to model type. Oh, we already did that. Model name. So it's number 26. So this is where you scroll over, you click, and then you change the name here. What is this thing called anyway?
The Lightning.
The Lightning V2. So then you scroll over to L and you click, and then we'll scroll over, click, and we'll come right back. All right, guys, so we have the Lightning V2, 1.5 meter. Okay, so I can walk out of there. Don't worry about the beeping, that's normal. It's not right, but it's normal. Aircraft type, this is where you set up your wing type, okay? So it's set to flaperons. That gives us access to our flap mode when we go out to the regular mode, or it's called the function list when you come out of regular flight mode. Go to next. I'm gonna scroll over to just change the image so it looks cool. They have a bunch of different pictures in here. I like to match it up with kind of similar to what I'm using, so that's pretty close. And we'll be doing some channel assignments later, but we'll come back to that probably. It's a little bit hard to do that right now. Now, if you guys didn't know, you can go into bind here, and then you can do the binding from a live transmitter instead of having to press buttons. I don't typically do this just because I don't want to invite problems. I don't trust stuff like that. I'm sure it's fine, but anyway. All right, so first things first, let's set up throttle cut. Let's turn it on. It's a good way to save your fingers. Okay, so you see this, how it says 100, minus 100 rather. Then when you turn it off, it's live. Okay, so we're good. Throttle holds on, throttle cut. And since you're doing flaperons, you might have access to differential too. Differential just means like if you want the left aileron to go up more than the right aileron goes down, and vice versa, like this, versus even, where it's 100% up, 100% up. Say you give it 100% output, this one's gonna go up 100%, this one's gonna go like 60%. That's what differentials. And it's supposed to help with the efficiency, the asymmetry of the efficiency when an aileron goes up compared to when an aileron goes down. So I don't think it's really, I've never used it and thought, wow, it's so much better now. It's just one of those things that gets mixed in by engineers that think we're flying 747s and we're not. Like myself. I'm not an engineer. Okay, so flap system, we're gonna turn that on to switch B. Since these are flaperons, one setting, position 0 is gonna be 0, and then 1's gonna be like, I don't know, let's just guess. And then we're gonna make a correction factor that's big enough to see, but probably not gonna be necessarily right. So there's nothing magical about these numbers, they're just kind of a quick guess, okay? But let's make them even so that people don't have as much confusion, okay? So when I deploy the flaps, see how it's fast acting? I'm gonna scroll down here and change this to 2 seconds. Then I'm gonna click, and then I'm gonna change this again to 2 seconds. And then I'm gonna click and change it again to 2 seconds. So then you'll notice it changes slowly now. See that, left aileron, and then the right aileron does the opposite thing. And then the auxiliary, that's the actual switch condition. And then you can see the elevator making a correction at that same time frame. All right, so everything's done there. So that's going to dual rates and expo. So ailerons, elevator, and rudder, we're gonna set up all 3. I'm gonna change them to be attached to switch F. We'll do a light expo, like 5%. Then we'll do 10. Then we'll do 20. And we'll drop the rates down to like 90, okay? So in this, it's 5% expo, then it's 10, then it's 20. And you'll notice this line changes. It changes both an amplitude of output because I lowered the rate, and then it changes the curve. And you're like, well, what difference does that curve make, Brian? Well, that curve is representative of the output on ailerons. When you move the stick, it's actually telling you how much it's going to divert, and it's gonna make this position worth less here than it is here, than it is here. See how that number changes to like 46? Now it's 46. Hold on. I gotta move it less. Okay, so it's like 11. See how that number changes? So it's like 12 to 10. Then it's like 14 to 11. Then it's like 14 to 8. So as you move out, it's just charting the difference here, okay? That's why there's a curve on there. So if you were to change the expo, then that's gonna change the amount of curve on the line. And that in turn changes the output based on what you do here. Okay, now if you use a stabilizer, expo, it does not need to be as aggressive, typically, okay? So I'm gonna attach that to switch F. See how that works? Once you have it done, you can just click. So in position 0, we're gonna do the same thing, 5, then we'll do 10, then we'll do 20, and we'll drop this down to 90. Okay, now let's copy that again on the rudder, attach it to switch F. We'll start with 5, then we'll do 10, then we'll do 20. Okay, so there's the middle setting. Now why do you do the 5, 10, and 20? I start in the middle, and if it's too much expo and it's too soft on the sticks, I can go up to the top setting, which is more intense. Or if it's not enough expo, it's too touchy, then I can go to this. Now, with the added ability to adjust my master gain on my stabilizer, at some point here I'll turn that on. I can turn this all the way up and get more stabilization. Or turn it down if it's oscillating, or somewhere in the middle. Like say we're 50% and everything is pretty good, but it oscillates a little bit at full speed, so I can just back it off, and then I can run it at full speed, see if it stops oscillating, and then I can go back in and make adjustments to my trim pots when I get it on the ground, okay?
Are you gonna drop your rates to 90 on that last one? Or were you not in your highest setting?
Good catch. I just forgot to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. So now they're all the same. All right, so backing out. So basically everything is set up. The flaperons don't need to be set up with a mix right now because the aircraft wing type is where you actually set up their flaperons, okay? That's gonna tell the receiver to associate that auxiliary 1 or whatever it is to the other aileron. So one's the right aileron, one's the left aileron, but they're both ailerons, okay? But now they're only tied together with software so that when you want the flaps to happen, then it changes the state together, okay? We'll demonstrate that here. Okay, so throttle holds on. All my switches are in the neutral settings. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna energize this. We need to be a little bit careful because the prop is in place. It's not impossible that the prop could start spinning, because that would kind of suck, because we're gonna break something. I'm not really super worried about getting injured, but I'm gonna do some precautions here real quick just because it is live or will be live. Now again, that stabilizer is not mounted yet, so we have a little bit of work ahead of us. We're actually not too far from being done with this plane, but we still have a little bit of work ahead of us. I'm gonna put this in here just to hold it, and then if that prop were to start spinning, we're in a place where we're essentially safe, okay? And I just kind of have things simulated. Obviously the wing is upside down. This is the battery I think I'm gonna end up working with, 2200 milliamp 30C 3S Gen 2 pack by Spectrum. It's got the smart lead. You don't need the smart lead in this application. And yes, an XT60 will receive an IC3, okay? Let me demonstrate. Goes in just fine, but I need that. I need this off so we can bind. So I'm gonna turn this off. One of the few complaints I have on this, and it's not even really a complaint, it's just kind of an annoyance. You have to press and hold that power button for a long time to turn it off. People that aren't doing 30 models a month probably don't care. But since I am, it's a little bit annoying. Okay, gripe over.
4 seconds on video is a long time when you're waiting.
Yeah.
For it.
Okay, so we're gonna plug this in. It comes alive, you can see the flashy lights, red and green, okay? And then there's also another light down here that's red, okay? This is where you'd wanna have your satellite receivers installed if you were using them, okay? I almost never use satellite receivers, by the way. Okay, bind switch is held down, pressing the power button. wait. Goes to green, everything comes alive. This is where you watch. Okay, bind's complete. I'm gonna walk back, make sure I'm out of the menus. Now I'm gonna pull off the bind plug. As a matter of habit, I am going to do this because I've always done this and it's served me well. I'm gonna turn off both systems. Like we talked about. Let it go to sleep. This is obviously de-energized. Turn on the transmitter as though you were getting ready to fly. Transmitter comes up, throttle hold, throttle cut, it's on. Plug in the power. Green light flashes, red light comes on solid. ESC arms, and you heard beep, beep, beep. Instead of beep, 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 beep. That means that you don't have braking on. Beep, 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 beep. That means that you do have braking on. That means braking is when you let off the throttle, this will resist movement. You see this? It's actively trying to hold that still. The reason that is that allows the props to then fold rather than tractoring like a windmill. Imagine a windmill, a kid's holding it out the window in your car. That creates drag equivalent to a plane this size, if that's how big it is. On this, that's a pretty big plane. So a lot of people will use that tractor to slow the plane down along with flaps. So the way you do that, throttle hold is off, nothing started up, that's good. Okay, so it works. First things first, pushing air that way, that's important. Okay, and the throttle's off, throttle holds on, and testing. So everything's working there. The braking is obviously working. We didn't have to set that up. If you do have to set up the braking because you're doing a plug and fly or a bind and fly, not a bind and fly. If you're doing an ARF or something like this, look in your ESC manual, it'll tell you how to set that up, but definitely set it up. You absolutely want that because that prop will stay out in tractor and make this thing fly like crap. A sailplane is meant to be flown with the throttle off. You get up to altitude and you fly. Of course, I don't always obey that rule, but anyway, it is what it is. So first things first, let's check our control surfaces. Elevator, up, down, it's going the correct direction. Awesome. Rudder is going the wrong direction. Don't worry, it's normal for them to be wrong. Now, I have to be a little bit mindful of this because it is upside down. Technically, I'm gonna write it for the sake of argument, so it's easy for us to visualize things. I'm gonna leave this like it's going to be there, okay? We're gonna have to resituate things a little bit, that's fine. Aileron, roll left, roll right, elevator, and rudder. So rudder needs to be reversed. I'm gonna click in, go to servo setup, travel, click travel, and go to reverse. Hold on. That was weird. Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna go to rudder, and I'll just hold the plane and then switch that. So now it moves the correct direction. Look how nice this is, guys. They have everything cut so that there's no clearance issues at all, guys. This is a well-built model, I must say. Now, let's check our flaps. Okay, throttle holds on. Take off flaps, landing flaps. We got lucky, okay? So they go down, they go neutral, really nice. Now, one thing I do on outboard wings, I will sometimes set up spoiler-ons where they go up and flapper-ons, and I'll test it on the maiden flight and see if the spoiler-ons or if the flapper-ons tend to make it perform better. If you deploy spoiler-ons, these still operate as ailerons and they go up. So they spoil the lift over this section of the wing. So your plane is gonna continue to fly and it's gonna go down, but you're not necessarily gonna like gain speed because you don't have to point the nose down. You can stay level, or you can even do a slightly high alpha maneuver, and then you can do that and you'll actually kind of almost like come down like this, but it's a little bit challenging. Some people don't like that. If you do flapper-ons, then it's gonna tend to kick the tail up and it's gonna balloon, okay? So what's gonna happen is you're gonna put those wings like this and they're still gonna operate as ailerons and flaps at the same time. So when you roll the plane, you're gonna lose that stall improvement over here. okay, and over here. So try not to roll. Use your yaw to induce a roll. That's the way you can do that. So just once you deploy your flaps, you can use your rudder a little bit more. That will also change the direction you're landing. Okay, so a couple of different thoughts. We have everything set up right now. So now we just need to see if the stabilizer is correcting in the correct directions. This is important, okay? Because you can flip the direction that things are working. I'm holding this entire assembly. If it starts, I'm stronger than the motor as it pertains to startup, not as it pertains to stopping it, okay? If this were to try to start, it'd probably catch on fire. Okay, I have everything trapped. So elevator, I'm gonna look at first, I'm gonna go up, up, down, nothing, 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 nothing. That means that it's either not turned on or we don't have the right setting yet. So we're gonna try one thing first. I'm gonna hold the fuselage and I'm gonna switch, come over here. I'm in monitor mode so you can see what's going on. Gear, on, off. You can look at the lights on here. See how it stays red and green? There's no change in state, which means we don't have it turned on. Okay, so the first things first, I need to flip to flaperons because flaperons are currently set. But Brian, the flaperons already worked. Yes, but not with the stabilizer, okay? So right now the stabilizer would stabilize these in the wrong direction with flaperons. So you have to come over here and flip a dip switch. See how it says flaperons, VTAL, Delta? I have to flip this one. Okay, so now that's set to flaperons. Now I don't know if it's gonna turn on or not, so we're gonna try that now. Nothing, no change of state, okay? Nothing, no change of state. That's our master gain right now. If we're in monitor mode, you can see how that's auxiliary 3? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th channel is already assigned to this knob. That's why I didn't mess with it. Gear is already assigned to this. This is on off for stabilizer. On this Lemon RX receiver, you have to actually flip VTEL and Delta together. See, stabilizer's on. Now it's switchable, okay? So you see how it's jumping around all over the place like AS3X style? Okay, so we're gonna let it sit still. Now, you see how it's green? Watch this. Now it's red. So that's not stabilized. Now it is stabilized, okay? Stabilized, not stabilized. Stabilized, not stabilized. That's on channel 5, gear, okay? Now that we have stabilizer on, on, I wanna change that so that this, you see how I've got it pulled back? I want that to be the other way. Travel, reverse, gear. Okay, now that's stabilizer off, that's stabilizer on, because that's my default switch condition that I want to start my plane in. Okay, so the stabilizer is going to be on by default. Now listen. See how it's less? See how it's more? See how it's less? Watch this. Servo setup, travel, go to auxiliary 3, all the way up. This is the trick of the day, guys. Because a lot of you are not going to want to waste a channel for the stabilizer on off. Big mistake on the Lemon RX setup. It's been this way forever, even before I got into the Spectrum stuff. They should have always had an option with a switch to turn stabilization on all the time. Now watch this, okay? I'm just moving it all the way up, all the way down. You don't need an on-off. You just use the master gain, okay? Now, we have everything on and we have everything functioning, but we don't know if it's functioning right. So gain all the way up. Now I'm gonna see what direction everything's moving. So I have to kind of get everything in the right position, which means I need this track in the correct position. Okay, that's close enough for what we're doing. I'm gonna hold this and I'm gonna go up with the right arrow. Up, it's going the wrong way. See how that goes down? When I lift this, it's gonna go down. See how it goes down? Mm-hmm. That means it's gonna induce a roll. So as soon as the wind blows me, it's gonna go blah until it crashes. Okay? Sorry, my battery popped out because I don't have it secured yet. So now, elevator, watch the elevator. It goes the wrong way too. So when I lift up on this, that should resist, not induce. Resist, nope, wrong way. Now, rudder, I'm gonna move this towards you. It should go towards you. It's going the right way, okay? Watch when I move towards you. It's going the right way. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Well,
good.
yeah, I hope they can. I
Well,
can see
you
it
need
too.
to get the camera so they can see this, camera crew. This is critical. Can you be right here? Try this, ready? I'm gonna rotate toward the sink here. See how it moves toward the sink? Now watch, it's gonna move back toward me. Whoops. I think what's happening is it fell down. Now I've got it braced. Watch this. Toward me, away from me. It's working correct. Now let's show the people how to set the other two axes. So we know, as a matter of fact, that our elevator and our ailerons are backwards. So all we have to do is go into elevator and ailerons and flip those switches. Backward, backward. Now, this should be functioning in the correct direction. I'm gonna just kind of, again, I'm just temporarily bracing this. We have to gain all the way up so we can see it the best possible. Aileron up, aileron down. Other aileron up, other aileron down. Why are you checking both? It's an aileron. No, these are flaperons. Elevator should go up when I lift the tail. Ready? Up, down. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Up, down, up, down. Now watch this, I'll go slow. Up, down. Good. Now watch the rudder. Still good and still good. So we have everything moving in the correct direction and we know the orientation of the stabilizer. Now let's double check our controls have not been reversed because when we flip that, it may reverse them, okay? Elevator up, elevator down, rudder left, rudder right. Roll left, roll right. Now let's check flaperons. Take off flaps, landing flaps, okay? Now, we're looking for the same behavior as before, only with the flaps down. Going up with the right wing. Up, yep, down. There's nothing to do, there's nothing to go because you're all the way down, okay? So we're gonna go up again. Up, yep, it's hard to see, but I can see it. Up, I can see it, I don't think you guys can. Looking at the rudder, yep, yep. Looking at the elevator, yep, yep. All right, so we have double, triple checked all the control axis. Now listen, there's nothing quite more annoying than listening to AS3X or Lemon Stabilizer or whatever. So when you get this set, so it's like this, you're not gonna fly like that. You might be flying like this, okay? It may barely be on. So you don't have to leave it at 150% up and 150% down. You can change the travels back to whatever you want. But this is just a means to an end for testing. Makes it easier to pick up on film too. But I generally run them high like that because then I can get a lot out of it or I can get nothing out of it. I can literally go to nothing. Okay, so a couple thoughts before we continue. We have to, at this point, this radio system is completely set up now. It's ready to fly with the exception of I didn't set up spoiler rounds. So you'll notice I have this gain knob all the way down. I'm gonna run it to the middle. That's where we're gonna start. You're like, but Brian, that seems like a lot of stabilization. Yes, it probably will be too much. But watch this. Too much, none. I can quickly resolve my problem, okay? So, I've got a backup plan. I also have Expo. So if I come out of the stabilization and then like, I need a ton of Expo all of a sudden, I was getting sick of hearing it. So our next move is, let's mount this receiver, okay? So we have the wings. I don't really want to disconnect them because then I have to reestablish if I have them correct, okay? So let's talk about this. Camera crew, are you capable of holding that while we work? Just hold it right there. Yeah. Okay, so I need to be able to mark these simply. So I'm gonna get a silver marker and another marker. How would I just do red? I don't know if red will show up on that black very well.
It might,
Enough to differentiate?
Yeah.
Well, I could just mark one. How about that? Okay, so one of these is one and one's the other. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that one's red, 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 and red. Okay, see how it's red? So that tells me which one goes where. Then this one is the other one, so I don't need to worry about it. It should be pretty straightforward stuff. Now these stabilizers generally will come with something like this, a double-sided adhesive. Okay, I'm just gonna tuck the excess cable. It'd be nice if I could just stick it right under there.
Mm-hmm. Is it skinny enough?
I don't think so. This, actually, you know what? I'm gonna just stuff it in here. I'm just gonna make it fit between these two little knobs, if I can get it to go. It feels like maybe just a bit too much. But you see how those antennae are wanting to give us trouble? Mm-hmm. That's another design flaw on this Lemon RX receiver, if you ask me. I've always hated the way that that molding works, and I've always had to cut them off or resolve it somehow. And in the past, I don't know how many countless planes I've had to cut these off of. Mm-hmm. But this one little spot is designed to protect that cable, and it does nothing of the sort. It just makes another pinch point out further. So if you're listening, Lemon, we really like your product, but this is just not probably the best design right here. Okay. So this is a coax cable, so you got to be super careful. Okay. So I'm pulling those down, and I'm going to actually lift and cut this so that I don't cut myself. Okay, once I get a little bit of a cut, I'm just lifting that away. Okay, see what I did there? Now you guys can see what I'm talking about. I've done this so many times, it's like I can do it in my sleep, but I just don't want you guys to cut your cables. I'm just holding on to it with these side cutters. It's just going to allow me to tuck this into this tight spot. Okay. These cabinets are not super strong, by the way, but that's okay. It doesn't really need to be super strong. So I'm going to score the plastic now and just walk around. Okay. Real simple. I put a new blade in here. You guys will be proud of me.
Your annual X-Acto blade.
Well, all I've got to say is I've got a ton of them, and they're so cheap, and they're such a pain when they don't work right, and they're so awesome when they do. So I don't know why I don't just...
And they're so far away to replace.
I'm just being super careful not to break it. Okay. All right, I'm going to get a flat screwdriver. Come right back. All right, so I just got a flat screwdriver, so it's a little easier to get in here and do this safely. Just trying not to break the two wires. You can take this cabinet apart with 4 Phillips screws, but again, that's a lot of work. I'd rather fight it and do it the hard way. See? Once you get that thing exposed, then you can just come in there and just like really bust that thing off. See, now we can see what we're doing real good. And all my objective here is to basically just break off this little protective guard, because it doesn't work. It literally doesn't do anything. It just moves the break point out a 1/4 inch. And it makes it really hard to mount the thing. Okay, so now you got a nice flat surface. And it's not going to change anything otherwise. Okay, camera crew, I need to slide this toward me and get these plugged back in if at all possible. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't want to have to get extension cords because I really like the cleanness of all this. Mm-hmm. Hey, I got an idea. I'm going to put the lid on this so I don't slice myself up.
Good plan.
All right, new plan. You're going to have to hold this vertical. Can you do that? Otherwise, yeah, hold it vertical.
Yeah.
I have an idea that will work. I'm going to try to put this foam thing from the box in there. And then you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to take these 2 screws. There's 2 screws in this whole thing, guys.
Yeah.
If you had to undo these every time, you would definitely want to do some sort of an extension cord. It's just so easy to do the flap-arounds on this that it's like, I just can't not do it.
You got it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I know you're trying to help me. Okay, so we'll just slide this through. Oops, that was not so good. That's hard on your servos, in case you guys didn't know. overdriving them like that. I didn't really mean to do that. I'm actually twisting this in. And that's just gonna hold the wing in one piece, that's all. Once I have the wing held in one piece, now I can just rest it into this pocket. Okay? I don't know if that's gonna work though. Can you hold that with one hand?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And you can see still?
Yes.
You see my dilemma?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have enough. So I'm gonna have to try to rotate it. Just fine, let it rotate.
Okay.
I don't know if that's gonna go. I just don't think I'm gonna get it in there without having problems. I mean, I could also mount the receiver right here. I could just mount it upside down like that. But then that'll be a pain in the neck to make adjustments. Mm-hmm. It's just, that's actually probably the best place I've come up with so far. And that is the way it would be mounted too. What?
So you can't mount it upside down? So that if you pull the wing up, you'd be able to see?
Well, technically, if I mount it upside down, the only thing that changes is the elevator axis. So I actually don't hate that idea at all. I don't hate that idea at all. I hate it so little that I'm actually gonna do it. So the elevator is right here. I'm gonna flip this switch. Then we just have to verify that we did it right.
So it'll be backwards from what we did a second ago.
But only on the elevator.
Right.
Only on the elevator. We may also have to, no, we won't have to change the controls on the transmitter. So you see how this is gonna be on a split wing, okay? So I want that to be like this. So one wing is gonna be lower. So I think we have plenty of room. So I'm gonna just kind of favor it like this, okay? And this double-sided tape is pretty good stuff. I didn't have anything to write home about it. It's not like super special or anything, but it's all right. I guess what I'm trying to say is I can't get the backing off.
It's included.
It is, but like I just stuck it down and I can't get the backing off, which is really annoying. And I've run into this before on these lemon backings. There we go. Okay. All right. So now I can stick this down just like I am just gonna barely connect it on both sides, okay? So that's really close to the center of gravity too, which is kind of nice. And the pins are going to be going forward when this gets actually glued on there. All right, not glued. We also need to take care of those antennae, so I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. We'll just use... Okay, so we got just a regular tape dispenser. And all we're doing is, ideally this would be taped to kind of to itself, if you will. So it's on this side, because if we separate these wings, I don't want to have to fight it. Does that make sense, camera crew?
Yeah.
Okay, so queso sounds delicious.
It's not what we're having.
What are we having tonight?
Cowboy grub.
Ooh, delicious. You guys may have noticed that my wife is a good cook. Okay, and now we've got one going this way and then we'll have one going the other direction. It'd be real nice if I could just tape it down here. To be honest, I'm probably not going to separate the wings, but ideally, you know, it's not perfect, but I could actually go straight onto the cabinet of the transmitter, which is fine. It'd be better to not, but that's what I'm doing exactly. See how that's taped onto the plastic? It'd be ideal not to do that, because now I can still separate these wings, okay? This is this way, and this is this way. So 90 degrees. Not parallel, but perpendicular, or perpendicular, or perpendicular. It doesn't matter what perpendicular, but there's two different planes, okay? That'll help with the diversity action of the antennas. The antennae. Those things.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we have that done, we can verify everything is working, and let's verify that we can fit in here. You ready? So you see where these wires are? See how they're gonna tuck in there just almost perfectly? That is gorgeous. Does that look okay to you? It looks okay to me. I like that. That worked pretty stinking smooth.
Glad I can help.
The only problem is we're gonna have to take this wing off to make adjustments, which is unfortunate.
But you were going to take the wing off to make an adjustment, no matter what.
That is true. Very true.
I mean,
and you know, there's nobody saying you wouldn't separate the wings. You can just take off the thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and I want you to be mindful that this prop could go live. It's not anticipated, but just in case something goes wrong.
okay.
So we'll slide this in here. Everything's live. Wait for the ESC. Elevator up, elevator down. Roll left, roll right. Yaw left, yaw right. Take off flaps, elevator, elevator. Landing flaps, elevator, elevator. Roll left, roll right. Roll left, elevator, elevator, yaw, yaw. Okay, now stabilizer. Stabilizer is currently on. So elevator up, elevator down, elevator up, elevator down, all the way up. Elevator up, down, 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 left. Ooh, the yaw axis is now backward on the correction because we flipped it upside down. Okay, no big deal. We can switch that.
What about the ailerons, though?
The ailerons are come out of the flaps and easier to see. They're correct, correct, correct. Incorrect, incorrect, correct. So we also need to flip the rudder.
Okay.
That's why we check stuff.
Yes.
Because I didn't think
Multiple
about
times.
that. Off. It's kind of annoying.
You don't like listening to the noise?
Okay, so show the people. So this is super easy. All I have to do is come in here to the rudder, the third one, and move the dip switch to the other side. Okay? So I sort of put tape on top of these holes. So I'm just gonna make a slice and dice with the X-Acto knife, just so it's like easy to get in there. Because I could see being out in the field or being in a rush and just being like, why won't this work? Why can't I get my screwdriver in here? So now you can adjust those gains, okay? Here, here, and here. Those are your gains. Now I want to show you another trick. You see these wires, how there's 3 of them? See how there's 3? Say you want to tame those, okay? We're going to tame them right now, okay? It's always awkward to do this. Maybe do this like 4 or 5 times. Okay, look what's happening to the wires. They're getting tidied up. So cable management with a twist. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so show the people at home. So you've got that nice little twist there. Everything is installed where it needs to be. We've got the receiver mounted so it's fixed to the plane. Got a little bit of softness there. That's what you want. And then when you put this down, just make sure it doesn't get in the way of your elevator or rudder, okay? So now we'll just get a couple of turns on these screws so that we can validate all the controls are going in the right direction. Okay, so stabilizer's back on. Rudder, correct, correct, correct. So it's going right, left, right, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, okay? Take off flaps, landing flaps, the most extreme situation. Up, 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 left, right. Okay, so everything is tested. We put the gain to the middle. Take off flaps, landing flaps. This plane is literally ready to fly right now with the exception of we need to get the strap for the battery and then we need to work out the CG. So we'll just tighten these screws real quick.
Did it come with a strap for the battery?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say this plane has been very good. Now, part of the reason it's been good is because I'm super familiar with the Lemon RX. I installed probably 30 of them in previous videos for years, and I really thought they were great. They were great, and they still are good. But the thing is, forward programming really takes the cake because you can do so many different things. Now, that being said, it's arguably a lot more expensive, and not arguably, it is more expensive, a lot more expensive. But you know, it kind of is what it is. If you want the extra feature set, if you get an AR 636T, you're gonna have a barometer so you can do a vario. People always love it when I sing the barometer song, or the vario song.
That could be the theme song for the channel.
Yeah. Every time somebody comes on the channel, they hear me beeping.
Yeah.
That'd be horrible. All right, so one more quick check. Man, this thing just feels solid. I'm really excited for it. Everything just looks good. This aileron actually does not look totally level. Do you see that? How that's down just a hair? So it might need a mechanical trim there. Although, this one's down, that one's up, okay? I've seen this before, but we're still gonna mechanically trim it. So we can flip this on its back. That ESC is getting warm from just chilling here. Okay, so stabilizer's off, because that's annoying to listen to. This one's down just a hair, this one's up just a hair. Talk about an easy adjustment. Unscrew this, just a hair. Walk it up. These are digital servos, that's why they're so noisy. You hear it fighting to get back into position. It's like desperately, like, must obey transmitter. Did you know I speak transmitter?
Does that sound like a vario?
Boop, 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 beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Okay, see how that moves in and out now? Okay, so we're hopefully gonna stay in that perfect position. Oh man. Okay, so that's good, and that's good. All right, so everything is literally done with the exception of the battery and center of gravity. So let's get that worked out right now. The battery needs to be strapped. So if we want to show the people at home, camera crew, I'll take this screwdriver so I can undo this Velcro. Kind of fighting me a little bit. Can't tell which side to pull up. Can you? Kind of acting like that's...
Oh, yeah, it's kind of...
Are you showing the people what I'm actually doing here?
I'm trying.
There we go. All right, so there's that. That's a crappy strap if I've ever seen one. It's just simple. Simple's not necessarily a problem, but I would like to see a more robust strap, something I can slide all the way around and all that good stuff. But to be honest, it fits pretty good, so not a big problem. All right, so let's check CG. They said 50 to 60 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing, correct?
I'm double checking.
It's only on the first page.
Yeah. Yes, 50 to 60.
All right, so you get your calipers or whatever measurement device you want. 50 to 60 millimeters. Don't forget your canopy, because that is part of the center of gravity, of course, or will be. Nice fit. 50 to 60. So 49 point whatever.
It's actually 50 now.
Okay. I'm gonna make a bump on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look. Are you kidding me? They got a mark?
Oh, is it marked?
Yes, there's a mark. I love it. I don't even have to mark it. not marked at 60.
Maybe they changed their mind.
Well, whatever. I mean, it's close enough for what I'm doing.
Right.
So I can definitely feel it, which is nice. You see those marks here and here?
Mm-hmm.
So where the battery is right now on the front, it's pretty good. So that's a little bit nose heavy. And then it's like real nose heavy. So let's look in here together. I can't believe how well this plane's gone together. It's just been like easy.
Yeah.
We had a couple of issues getting the tail put together, but that was not a big deal. Okay, so this could be pushed back a little bit. Okay. Let's see how this tests out. I definitely do not like the canopy any more than I did the first time. I feel like that's going to give us problems, almost certainly. At the front, it's tail heavy. I would say 1/3 of the way back between those gaps, it's just nose down, just a hair. That's perfect for a sailplane. And then on the tail, it goes down. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's a good starting point. So let's show the people what I'm gonna do. Here, this is a super easy thing. I'm just gonna take a marker. I'm just gonna mark like right there. Okay, that's gonna get covered. And the canopy is somewhat translucent, but I'm just gonna say 2200 milliamp hour. Okay, so here's the gap. And then the wires go that way. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's our starting point. So folks, there you have it. This thing is the Lightning V2, red and blue.
I have an important instruction.
Oh boy. Does this have something to do with bringing lunch to the flight field?
No, this is almost as good. You should learn how to control the model blandly. It will reduce the possibility of a crash and prolong the usage of the plane. I don't think you do anything blandly, so we might be in trouble.
Listen, I'm all for prolonged usage.
True.
All right, guys, you've already seen it fly. You already know you want this thing. I don't know why you're still watching. Click the link and buy it already. It's at the very top of the description. We'll link to the battery, we'll link to the plane, we'll link to the transmitter, and we'll probably link to the AR637 TA, the AR631, which would be the step down from that. It doesn't give you the barometer, but it's still really good. It's got the forward programming, and we'll actually link to the Lemon RX7 channel, which is something we haven't been linking to. Well, yeah, we have. It's down at the bottom next to the Dynam planes. But this thing looks awesome. I'm really excited to see it fly. I know it's gonna fly good. I don't know if the flap rounds are gonna be set up right. I don't know if the elevator correction at 10 and 15 is enough, or if it's too much, or if it's not enough. So it's either perfect, but there's about a 5% chance of perfection, and then there's a 95% chance that it's something wrong, totally. So I am excited to see this thing fly. You guys, I'm jealous of you because you've already seen it fly, future people. But this thing is awesome. I can already tell it's gonna be a good plane because the last one that I crashed after only like 6 or 7 flights in horrible conditions, that plane was really good. So this one's gonna be even better, I can tell. Come back for more. Guys, we have so much action coming. If you wanna know how to support our channel, buy from the links below, obviously. Don't forget to give us a like. Give us a like. Give us a like, please. After hours of all this footage, please give us a like. And subscribe, click the bell for notifications. We're dangerously close to 100,000 tonight. It's about like 10:45 on a Wednesday. So if this is any day after that, it's probably gonna be over 100,000. So thank you guys, we owe you a debt of gratitude. Best audience on YouTube. Hopefully it's gonna be getting a little bit bigger and a little bit faster growth once we're past the 100,000 mark. But even if we don't, you guys are awesome. You helped us get here. You helped us to be able to work with all these great companies to review tons and tons of different airplanes. And my camera crew is super excited that she gets to help me with all that. I'm super excited to be part of it. I'm honored to be part of this RC community in this capacity. And we're really glad to have you guys with us. If you weren't watching, if you weren't subscribing, if you weren't liking, if you weren't buying from the links below, believe me, this would have been done a long time ago. But because you are, we continue to put out the content, and we will continue to do it as long as you keep coming back, liking, subscribing, and buying from the links. Thanks again.